What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Talking Blue. I'm Matthew Mooney. Luke is not here tonight, but I'm joined by a special guest. His name is Will Watson. So we are going to be talking about um the Giants Lions post game and just everything that's gone on in training camp recently. So the other night, the Giants beat the Lions 14-3. I was there. It was a fun game to be at. Um, I got both touchdowns on video, which you guys probably know about. If you've been watching the TikTok and if you've been watching the shorts, you've probably seen them by now. But, the Giants played a good game. I like what I saw. So, first off, MVP of the game for the offensive side of the ball goes to Eric Gray for me. Yeah, he had two touchdowns, 52 rushing yards, 46 receiving yards, and in total 98 yards. I thought he was dominant and had a good battle for the second running back spot alongside Tyrone Tracy, who also looked very good. So, Will, give me your thoughts on how both them played.
I just feel like they were able to find the hole very easily, and they were like they broke Tyron Tracy. He was very good with after the contact, and he knew where he had to be.
Yeah, definitely. We see it in college a lot. He was great after he would have a lot of yards, rushing yards, and he started out his college career as a receiver, then he switched to running back. He's really fast, he's hard to tackle. So I think he's gonna have a good battle. Could possibly win the number one running back spot over Devin Singletary, but that's still gonna be tough for him. Singletary is still a very good running back. I feel obviously, the Giants lost Saquon, but I still feel good with our how we are at running back. And now let's talk about the defensive side of the ball a bit. Talk about Deontay Johnson, the defensive player of the game. He had a sack and two tackles for a loss. I thought our second string defense looked very good versus the Lions. I know going up against a backup team, but still, I liked what I saw, so it's a positive. So in case there's a big injury, at least we might have some guys who are good who can step in. What do you think about that?
I like what I saw with Phillips, and I like what I saw from Newbin. They were really good on the blitz, and I think there was a clip where Newbin, um, he stopped like a lineman dead in his tracks, and he stopped a run play, which I really liked that. And I just liked how Deontay Johnson just stopped the QB in its tracks every time they went out of the pocket, and he would just cause infinite pressure every play.
Yeah, I agree. I thought Tyler Newbin looked great, and he's almost definitely going to be starting at safety this year for the Giants, alongside Jason Pinnock, who had a great season last year. I feel good about our two starting safeties, and also we have Dane Belton, so our main three safeties are very good. I mean, we have Javarius Owens, who's the only question mark, and yeah, I thought Andrew Phillips played well. If you watch his film in college, he's a very physical corner. Hits a lot, and I think he has a very good shot at winning the second corner spot job. It's going to be either him, Cordell Flott, or Nick McLeod. So I feel good about who our second corner is alongside Deontay Banks. You could probably agree with me that.
Yeah,
Um, Now I thought for the most part the offensive line played well. I just thought Josh Azudu had a bad game last night, and well, not last night. It was the other night. Sorry, but I just wasn't impressed with what I saw from him. And I just think he's our weakest spot as of our backup offensive lineman, right?
say that again. Something happened with the audio for me.
Oh, okay, sorry. So I think Josh Azudu was our weakest spot on the offensive line, and I think he's got to be better though because he didn't play well at all. I mean, he was a third round pick, I'm pretty sure. Actually, no, he was a fourth round pick, I think. I forget. But it was a third. Sorry, I'm an idiot. But he was a third round pick in the 2022 NFL draft. And, there was a lot of promise, and he's just played like crap in 2 years. I mean, not saying you give up on him just yet, but he just hasn't really found his click in the NFL.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I agree with a lot with that because, God forbid, like one of our linemen gets injured, he's gonna have to be the next man up because if not him, it's gonna have to be Evan Neal, which we do not want him at. He's got to like with Evan Neal, he's got to like work on his stuff because one more year, he's gonna have to be like put on the practice squad or something, and if that doesn't work, he has to be like cut.
Yeah, definitely. Now I'm looking back. I've been looking back recently. I'm wishing that the Giants, instead of taking Evan Neal, which we took Garrett Wilson, honestly. I mean, it would have looked like a very odd pick at the time, but it would have been worth it because, um, we needed a weapon. I mean, like we haven't really had a wide receiver one since Odell Beckham left. I mean, honestly, now it doesn't matter because we have Malik Neighbors and Jalen Hyatt, but
And Wandale.
yes, and Wandale. So, I mean, I feel good with where we are at receiver at this point, but you know, we for a while, like when we made the playoffs, we didn't have a good wide receiver one, and that was like our biggest weakness.
Hmm.
Speaking of wide receivers, for the preseason game for the Lions, they combined for 3 catches, which was 15 yards in total, which is honestly which is alarming. I mean, I know Neighbors didn't really get the ball thrown to him. I think he had like 4 snaps in the game versus the Lions in the game, but he didn't have any targets, unfortunately. I was really looking forward to watching him play, and I was hoping for him to make a couple of nice catches. So, I mean, we got to get the ball to Neighbors the next game. What do you think about that, Will?
I feel like um I feel like the only time Neighbors should be on the field is when Jones is on the field because Jones is really the only quarterback in the Giants training camp this offseason where they build a chemistry because the only time he was playing with Drew Lock was not that very much, and it was in like the spring. So yeah, I feel like if you're gonna start Neighbors in preseason, you gotta do it with the quarterback he has the most chemistry with, and that's Daniel Jones.
Yes, I agree. And so for the Texans game, which is Saturday, pretty sure it is. You correct me on that. When is it again?
Saturday.
Yes. Okay, so that's right. I hear Daniel Jones is likely playing, and Malik Neighbors had a minor ankle sprain. Hopefully, it's not a big deal. If he's not able to play, then we shouldn't play him. But if he can play, let him play a couple snaps. Let's see him get the ball. Um, have him with Daniel Jones, let him throw the ball to him a decent amount, and I think we could have good things happen there. Also, speaking of Daniel Jones, he's not as bad as a lot of people say he is. Like, I know a lot of Giants fans wanted a quarterback in the first round of the draft. I can see why, but I said this on the last episode. I'll say it again in case you guys didn't see that. Links in the description below, so go watch that later. But the right thing to do was this year take a wide receiver in the first round, and then next year, and if he sucks next year, the entire world knows we're getting a quarterback. There's really no question there. Um, but like if he doesn't play well, we're not. I mean, if he does play well, we're not going to have to take a quarterback next year. So we'll see what happens. I mean, can you agree with me that was the right thing to do, though?
Yeah, like I say like a lot of people say this and that it's if Daniel Jones does not do good this year, he will unfortunately be cut. And
Yes.
I'd say a good year for Daniel Jones is I'd say like 300, 500 plus. And and he has to get like I don't want to say 25 plus, but definitely 20 plus touchdowns. And that's passing touchdowns. And he also has to get like have a winning record.
Yes, I agree. I think a winning record is honestly kind of reasonable for the Giants. A lot of people would think we're delusional, but people really don't know what they're talking about. I'm going to be honest with you. I see a lot of people saying on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube saying that we're going to have 4 wins at best 6. We're not that type of team. We got an offensive line that can actually block. A good receiver core. I know it's kind of unproven, but it's going to be good. And then our defense is really good, I think. And it could be one of like the could possibly be top 5 if we make another addition. I think we have at the very least a top 10 defense in the league. And some people say no because of how we started the year off. Yes, the Giants defense was very bad in the beginning of the year, but in the end of the year, like by week 6, I thought the defense played great after that. I mean, there were a couple of bad games, but for the most part, I thought the defense played well. Can you say about that?
I say that there was a stat saying how until week 5 the Giants had 0 turnovers. By the end of the season, we led the league in turnovers.
I know a lot of people aren't looking at that fact. People just look at like the amount of points we gave up per game and think we have a horrible defense. And at the same time, our offense, I mean, is was terrible last year for the most part, and
Mhm.
our defense was gassed from being on the field too much. Um, I'm thinking like I just don't see how we're like less than like a 6-win team. I think our floor is 6-11, and I'll say our ceiling's like 11-6 or 10-7. So I'll say we go 8-9 or 9-8, which is what I've said on the podcast before in previous episodes. But I think this has to be a decent season. I think next year we should be a playoff team. What do you think?
I think we either make the 7th seed or the 6th seed. I have us going in the 7th seed because of how good the NFC East is and how good the was it NFC North with the
Yes.
pack. Yeah. It's those two that are like the most like that are the hardest NFC divisions.
I would say the West is a little harder than the East, but
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Like thing is I'm not too worried about the what was it, NFC West. NFC West is the NFC West is the one with the
Seahawks, 49ers, Rams, Cardinals.
NFC South. I'm not worried at all about the NFC South.
Oh, neither am I. Only one
Yeah.
team's gonna make it.
I don't think the Rams are going to have like a playoff record. I actually have them having a losing record. And the same thing with the Buccaneers, because same thing happened with us. Like we had a playoff year, and we ended up like having a lot of hype coming into last season, and we ended up doing poorly. And I feel like that's what's going to happen with the Buccaneers.
Possibly. It's tough to predict who's gonna win that division. I think whoever wins at the NFC South is gonna have like a 9-8, 10 and maybe 10-7 record, but no more than 10 wins, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like the Giants could possibly sneak into the playoffs. I think our schedule is a lot easier than last year's, and I think there are more. I think with our schedule, like there could be 11 wins, honestly. I might sound a little crazy to some people, but there could be 11 wins with our current schedule. We'll see.
I feel like that one of the only reasons the Giants don't make the playoffs next year, I mean this upcoming year, um is because some other team will have like a better record than us. Not by losses, not by record. It will just be like they're just in a higher seed, and we won't be able to like qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, that happens a lot. That's could be why we don't make it if I mean, assuming we don't make it though. Um, but I honestly for the Giants, I know this is a different sport, but like a perfect comparison to them for a different sport would be the Minnesota Wild. If you watch hockey, you might know what I'm trying to say. I think both teams have bright futures. I like what both teams have going on. I think both teams are going to be very good, and like I don't think this year they're going to be too great, but I think like next year and the year after they'll both have like very good seasons. That's how I feel. I think that's a good comparison for like multiple sports, but I don't think. I mean, I think this year maybe the Giants sneak in. I'm a little higher. I might sound biased, but I'm a little higher on the Giants than the Wild. All right, enough to talk about the Wild, but um, I think the Giants could possibly sneak into the playoffs this year
Mm.
as a 7 seed. I don't see us winning the division. We might pass Dallas, which might sound a little crazy.
Mm.
I think Dallas is gonna have like a 9-8 record, maybe 10-7, but like I don't see any more than that though, which is kind of similar to us.
They
What do
did
you think?
nothing this offseason. The most I think they did was get Eric Kendricks, like a middle linebacker who has like underperformed for the past like 2 years. He was very good in the beginning of his career, but then he just slowed down, and then that's when the Cowboys got him, which I don't feel like was the best signing. They also got a washed up Zeke, and they re-signed their long snapper. So I don't think that's really much. And their owner said that their Jerry Jones said that he wasn't even going to pay CeeDee Lamb.
And he did. So, I mean,
Like, he said in an interview that he was asked, "Oh, do you plan on paying CeeDee Lamb?" And he said, "No, I do not plan on doing that." And even CeeDee Lamb was just like laughed at that. So I don't feel in the next 2 years, unless they pay CeeDee Lamb, I don't feel like CeeDee Lamb is going to stay a Cowboy.
yeah, I mean, he just got paid a lot. Yeah, now they got to pay Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott. They might only be able to pay one of them. I think Dak gets paid. I've been hearing he's going to get
Wait.
65 million per year. And look, I like Dak Prescott. I think he's a good guy. I mean, he's been through a lot of bad, horrible things. I feel really bad for the guy. I mean, the way he's handled it was great. I mean, he didn't deserve to go through all that. No one does. But the way he can handle himself, has handled himself, is great. I think he's a great guy, but like he's not good enough for 65 million per year.
Yeah.
And I think that's absurd for anyone. I mean, obviously you see Jordan Love getting paid 55 million per year. Other guys, Trevor Lawrence getting a lot of money. Everyone, I think most quarterbacks in the NFL are overpaid. I think you could agree with me there.
Yeah, I think like Tua, I don't think he should have been paid that much. Same thing with Jordan Love. I mean, he had a great year, but it's like one good year as a starter and you pay him like 250 plus. And going back to CeeDee Lamb, you said he got paid?
Yeah, I thought he did. What?
I didn't see anything on Twitter.
I could have
Probably
sworn. Wait, I could have sworn he got paid. I'm an idiot. I need to let me just fact check this. I could have sworn he got
Yeah.
paid. Um, I thought he. No, he did not. I'm such an idiot. Why did I think that?
Yeah, so like if he doesn't get paid in like the next year, I don't think he's gonna be a Cowboy next year.
Yeah, that could honestly happen, guys. Sorry about that. I'm an idiot. I could have sworn I saw that he got paid. But yeah, I don't know. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I think they could fall off. I think so. Second place could be ours if we play to our best abilities this season. But we're not finishing first. We're not better than Philadelphia.
Like on paper, we are not better than Philadelphia, and we're not better than them even off paper.
Yeah, the on-field product is not nearly as good as theirs.
And if I'm being honest, you could argue Commanders are better on paper than the Giants. I mean, I personally don't, but I feel like you can make an argument considering they got Bobby Wagner. They don't have Chase Young anymore, but they have who's the inside guy?
Oh, I know who he is, but
Jonathan Allen, I think his name
oh,
is.
Jonathan Allen, yes. There's
They
one
have
other guy. I think
on defense.
Montez Sweat.
They have a good corner, right?
Yes, Kendall Fuller.
Yeah, they also have a bright rookie who has a very bright future.
Mhm.
Austin Eckler, Jahan Dotson, who is very underrated.
Mhm.
Scary Terry, who is very underrated and is shockingly like a multiple 1,000-yard receiver with all of his QBs. And who else? I think that might be it. But like the only thing wrong about their offense is their offensive line, which is horrible.
Yeah,
And when we play the Commanders this year, they're gonna have a hard time with our, I would like to say, top 5 D line.
yeah. possibly even higher. Honestly, the Giants' defensive line could be top three in the league this year. And
Yeah.
I mean, you have Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns. It's hard to really debate that that's not a top five offensive line in the league. But,
To
it,
add on to that, like we got a good like Tyler Nubin was great at blitzing the QB in college. And he's gonna be good at it again in the NFL.
I believe so too.
And near the end of the year last year, Bobby Wagner had 2 sacks in like 3 games, I think. Actually, no, 2 games. And he was very good at chasing down the QB. Like last year, in his entire career, was his best year last year.
Yes, he did play well last year in the most recent year of his career. So,
We
yeah,
also have a safety at middle linebacker, which is now playing slot corner, I think, in training camp, and that's Isaiah Simmons. And he has like 4.3 speed. He's faster than Saquon, and he even got a pick six last year against the Commanders.
yeah, I remember watching that. I was actually at our win versus Washington at home this season, week 7. That was my favorite game I went to this season. Got to see Darren Waller's one touchdown with the Giants. Obviously, you know how well that turned out. He went now is making music.
Yeah, I
Uh,
remember Darren Waller got um signed to the Giants. I was in the car on my way home, and I was just like screaming on top of my lungs. I was like, "Oh my god, we just got a top 10, if not top 3 tight end," and then he doesn't even perform.
I know. My friend. I was leaving school. My friend told me he was like, the Giants got Darren Waller. I'm like, stop. No, we did not. Then I opened up my phone. I saw no notification. Then I saw I wasn't at any service on, so I turned on service. And then first thing I see, breaking news: the Giants traded a third round pick for Darren Waller. I'm like, what the hell is going on? How did we
I
do
heard that
this?
if you were to like do that on Madden, like that trade offer, it would not even work. It would be in like the red.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like Joe Shane is like, I don't know. I think he's like the scammer of the NFL. Like with NFL commissioners, he's definitely like a scammer when it comes to like signing players. We got Brian Burns for what was it, a second round?
A second and a fifth. That's a steal.
That's a steal.
It should have been more. Also, the Rams last year offered two firsts for him, and the Panthers declined that. I'm like, you kidding me? They're a rebuilding team. They should be trying to sell. Why are they
This year. How could you not take that?
exactly? You have to be stupid to decline that.
I'm not gonna lie though, the Rams with Brian Burns, like last year, they would have had Brian Burns if they accepted it, right?
Hmm.
That would have been dangerous. Like Aaron Donald and Brian Burns. I mean, now, I mean, if they did that, if the Rams pulled that off last year, now like our D line now would have been better than because we have Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Brian Burns.
Yes. Yeah, that defensive line has got to be like top three in the league. I know I keep saying that, but I still don't know how Joe Shin has made all these like scamming trades for um teams. Like obviously Darren Waller, which unfortunately didn't even like come close to working out for us. I mean, it's not even like him not trying. It wasn't like with Kenny Galladay. Like
Yeah.
Waller just got injured too much, and it just ruined him as a player, and it sucks though
He did
because he
so
could
bad,
have.
tired.
Hmm.
He said in an interview that his zodiac sign made him retire, and I was like, you know what? Just just enjoy retirement at that point.
Yeah, I mean, like, how does a zodiac sign have to like determine a career? Like,
He
if
said,
I,
focus
sorry,
on my music career.
yeah, I mean, that's like really all he focused on at this point. I mean, like,
You're a football player.
exactly.
You're
Like,
better at football than you are at making music.
yeah, you should be. I mean, like, if you wanted to make music, fine, but like, that should just be like a side career and not like your main thing.
Hmm.
Like, focus on
Speaking of,
what
what
was
are
that?
your thoughts on Theo Johnson?
I feel good about him. Like, I've talked to him a bit on the podcast, but he's freakish athlete and big guy. I think he's going to start at tight end this year. I really like the addition of him.
Yeah, he's very quick for a tight end who's 6'6".
Yes, I agree. So now we have a tight end. Hopefully, he is what we hoped for Waller to be and Evan Ingram to be. So I feel good about tight end this season.
Same with Bellinger. He's a great blocking tight end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like if Theo Johnson gets hurt, we have Daniel Bellinger. As long as we have one of Theo Johnson or Daniel Bellinger, the Giants should be fine at tight end.
Mm.
And I'm not concerned with what happens if we don't have them at tight end because if we have both of them at tight end because I think Theo Johnson's definitely the tight end of the future. Like we thought Waller was going to be here for like 2-3 years and be good with us, but it just didn't work out, unfortunately, like what we just said.
Yeah.
And now we got what we hope to be our tight end of the future and what we thought Waller was going to be and what we thought Ingram was going to be. So we'll see. I mean, Theo Johnson played for Penn State. He can play under like in a big scene like New York. I mean, obviously, college is a lot different from the NFL, but obviously Penn State having like one of the biggest followings in all of college sports for football, especially.
Games are probably one of the
Yeah.
hardest things to do.
Yeah, to be able to thrive at a school like Penn State, that just says something about a player that they can handle like the pressure of New York, for instance. Like you in New York, like they're like they unlike other cities, like I don't know, like Jacksonville or Houston, like there's not that much pressure. Obviously, there's pressure wherever you go, but New York, when you're bad, they're really on your ass, and unlike other places, though.
Like the Rangers. Like whenever the Rangers are bad for like a week, like Ranger fans would be like, "Oh, we don't deserve the cup. We don't deserve to be in the playoffs." And then once we win one game after that slope, us Ranger fans are like, "Oh, we're gonna win the cup." Like we're their New York fans are like probably one of the most bipolar fans, I'd say.
I agree. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Rangers fans like that, where you guys have a bad stretch and you think the season's over, but like once something good happens, you start winning. Kind of like how I felt with the Islanders this year. Like Wayne Lambert was a beyond terrible head coach. There's no reason he should have gotten the head coaching role 2 years ago. I thought the season was over after we lost that game versus the Blackhawks. But then the next afternoon, I checked my phone on Twitter. I see that Patrick Waugh was hired as the Islanders head coach. I'm like, oh my God, it finally happened. The season's not over. Then the next night, Bo Horvat scores an overtime goal versus the Dallas Stars in overtime. And I was like, yep, this is going to be the start to something special. So you never know what's going to happen with New York sports fans. Like everything changes, like how people feel, like how the fans feel about everything. I think you could agree with me on that.
Yeah. And I'd say like the one of like the biggest bipolar moments that I've experienced with the Rangers was actually recently, and it was when it was game one against the Panthers, and we lost 3-0. And then I was like, I just went to bed immediately, and I was like, oh, we're gonna get swept. And then we end up winning 2 games right after that, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be easy. And then we end up not winning another game.
Yeah, that happens. I remember with the Islanders this year, but like we lost in five versus Carolina. Was that the only game we won this year? Game four. Game one, I thought they played well, but just couldn't find the back of the net. Kyle McLean scored the one goal, and then the next game, blow a 3-goal lead, which was like the story all year long. All we did, blown lead after blown lead after blown lead after blown lead, which was really under Lane Lambert. Obviously, there was like 2 or 3 under Patrick Waugh in the regular season. Cough, cough. Unfortunately, the Stadium Series, which I was at, and you know, the playoff game. But like, I don't count the playoffs. I'm just talking about the regular season. And yeah, it was just that was the trend of the season, and it was no. I don't think it's gonna be much more this year though. So that was really it for the episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a few friends, and we'll see you guys later. Let's go Giants.